Hello, welcome. Today we are going to talk about The Bet by Anton Chekhov. This is a philosophical story about pride, money, freedom, and the value of human life. At first, it begins with a simple argument, but that argument turns into a dangerous bet that lasts 15 years. And by the end, the story asks a powerful question. What is truly valuable? Wealth, freedom, or wisdom? The story begins with a banker and a young lawyer. During a discussion, they argue about punishment. The question is, which is worse, the death penalty or life imprisonment? The banker believes death is more humane than spending life in prison, but the young lawyer believes that any life is better than death. Their argument becomes intense, and soon pride pushes them into a bet that will change both of their lives. At the party, the guests debate justice, freedom, and human suffering. The banker proudly says that death penalty is better than lifelong imprisonment, but the lawyer disagrees. He says that living is always better than dying. Because of this, the banker challenges him. He bets 2 million that the lawyer cannot stay in complete isolation for 15 years. The lawyer accepts. The agreement is clear. The lawyer must stay alone in a small lodge for 15 years. He cannot leave. He cannot speak to people. He cannot experience ordinary freedom. But he can read books, write letters, play music, and study. If he completes the 15 years, the banker must pay him 2 million. At first, it sounds like a test of endurance, but slowly it becomes a test of the soul. As the years pass, the lawyer lives completely alone. At first, he struggles with loneliness. Then he reads novels, studies languages, explores philosophy, religion, history, and science. Through books, he experiences the world without leaving his room. He changes deeply. His isolation becomes painful, but it also becomes a strange kind of education. A man who entered the bed is not the same man who will leave it. Through reading, the lawyer gains knowledge and wisdom. He studies different cultures, ideas, beliefs, and human experiences. But the more he learns, the more he becomes disillusioned. He begins to see how temporary and empty worldly pleasures can be. Money, fame, beauty, and power all seem meaningless to him. Knowledge does not simply make him smarter, it changes what he values. While the lawyer changes through solitude, the banker also changes. Years ago, he was rich and confident, but after 15 years, he has lost much of his wealth. Now, the 2 million prize terrifies him. If the lawyer wins, the banker may be ruined. His pride turns into fear, and his fear becomes so strong that he thinks of doing something terrible just to escape paying the money. Before the bet ends, the banker enters the lodge and finds a letter from the lawyer. In the letter, the lawyer says he no longer wants the money. He has learned to reject worldly rewards. To prove this, he leaves the lodge just before the deadline, giving up his right to the prize. This is the story's powerful reversal. The lawyer technically loses the bet, but spiritually he wins. He walks away from money because he believes wisdom is worth more. The bet symbolizes the emptiness of greed and the deeper question of what makes life meaningful. The banker represents pride, materialism, and fear of losing wealth. The lawyer represents suffering, knowledge, transformation, and spiritual freedom. The money symbolizes worldly desire. But by the end, the story shows that money cannot answer life's deepest questions. Chekhov makes us ask, what is freedom? What is wisdom? And what makes a life more valuable? In one simple idea, the bet is about a man who wins a bet by losing his desire for money. The lawyer begins by defending life at any cost, but after 15 years of isolation and learning, he rejects wealth, pleasure, and status. The banker, who once seemed powerful, becomes morally weak because of greed and fear. That is why the story is so meaningful. It reminds us that the greatest victory may not be gaining money, but outgrowing the need for it. So I hope you learned something from this video, and for more simple lessons about literature and more stories, follow Lingualistica and see you in the next one. Bye for now.